Okay, get ready, because we are going deep on this one. Buckle up. Today, we are talking shoplifting.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, shoplifting and the law, specifically here in California. It's a story that has really blown up. Videos are going viral.
Right, it's everywhere you look.
Yeah, it's all over the news. Everyone is talking about it. But we are going deeper. We're going beyond those headlines and those little snippets you see.
The sound bites.
Exactly, to find out what's really, truly going on.
What's at the heart of it all?
Yeah, so at the center of all this is Proposition 47. It's a California law that has been, it's been stirring things up. It's been causing a lot of debate. Essentially, what it did was change some theft offenses. It made them misdemeanors instead of felonies.
Right.
And the goal was...
Well, the hope was.
Yeah, the hope was to reform the criminal justice system.
Make it a little more fair, a little more just.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh?
But, and you knew there was a but coming.
Always a but.
But critics of the law say that it's created this, like, free-for-all environment.
Oh, yeah, they're saying.
Where shoplifters...
No consequences.
Yeah, like they can just take whatever they want.
Like it's a free buffet.
Exactly. And they're saying it's led to this sense of, like, lawlessness. But then you have...
The other side.
Yeah, the supporters.
Who say, hold on, wait a minute. It's not that simple.
Right. It's more nuanced.
That's way more nuanced.
Than that. And to really illustrate just how complicated this whole thing is.
How messy it is.
We're going to be looking at this police video.
Oh, the one that's been making the rounds.
Yes, the one that's gone viral. And in this video, you see these shoplifters getting arrested, right?
But
they are totally baffled. They're confused.
I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah, because they genuinely thought that this new law, Proposition 47, meant they couldn't get in trouble.
That they had a get-out-of-jail-free card, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's going on here?
Well, it's fascinating, right? Because it's not just a California thing. This whole situation, it's like a snapshot.
A microcosm.
Yes, a microcosm of a much bigger national conversation.
A debate.
A huge debate about how we balance reforming the justice system.
Which everyone agrees needs to happen.
Oh, absolutely. But how do we do that and at the same time make sure that the public is safe? That communities are protected.
Right, because those things have to go hand in hand. They can't be mutually exclusive, right?
Exactly. So we're going to look at the evidence. We're going to hear from different sides. We're going to really dig into the impact this is all having.
On businesses, on communities.
The real-world effects.
All right, let's jump right into that video. You have to see this to believe it. It's...
wild.
Yeah, it's wild. So the officers are apprehending these shoplifters.
Catch them red-handed.
Yeah, and the shoplifters are like, wait, what's happening? You can't arrest me.
They're totally indignant.
Yes, and they're saying, the law, the new law, it says I can't be arrested.
I know my rights.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you watch and you're like, wait, what?
I know. It really makes you think. I mean, this isn't just about some funny video that's going around. It points to something much bigger, a much deeper issue.
A misunderstanding.
Yeah, like a huge gap between what the law actually says and how it's being understood by some people.
Right. And it makes you wonder, did people even know about this change in the law?
Was there enough public awareness? Was it communicated effectively? These are big questions.
Big questions. So I think we need to break down Proposition 47.
Yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
What did it actually do?
Okay, so basically it changed how we classify theft of goods. So before Prop 47, if you stole something worth less than $950, you could be charged with a felony.
A felony?
Yeah, which is a serious offense. But this law, this proposition, it reclassified that. So now stealing something worth less than $950 is considered a misdemeanor.
Okay, so misdemeanor versus felony.
Big difference.
Huge difference. And why was this change made? What was the thinking behind it?
Well, it's all part of this movement to reduce mass incarceration. You've probably heard that term before.
I have, yeah.
It refers to the fact that the United States has a really, really high rate of imprisonment, like historically high. And there are a lot of people who believe that our justice system is too harsh, especially when it comes to nonviolent offenses.
Especially for nonviolent crimes.
Exactly. And so Prop 47 was seen as a way to lessen the severity of punishment for some of those offenses.
To make things a little more fair, maybe a little more proportional.
And also to address racial disparities in the justice system because, you know, those are real. They've always been real.
Absolutely. And so this was an attempt to
level the playing field.
To create a system that's a bit more equitable.
More just.
And so now we're seeing all these consequences.
Both intended and unintended, it seems.
Right. So There's all this data out there now about the impacts of Prop 47. We've got studies showing different things, painting different pictures.
It's kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
It is. It's hard to know what to make of it sometimes. What do you make of all this conflicting data?
Well, some studies show that in some areas, theft rates have gone up since Proposition 47 passed. And so obviously, critics of the law are pointing to those studies and saying, see, we told you, this law is just making shoplifting worse.
It's emboldening criminals.
Right, exactly. But then on the other hand, you've got studies showing that incarceration rates have gone down.
Which is the goal, right?
Exactly. And supporters of Prop 47 are saying, look, this is proof that the reform is working. We're reducing the number of people in prison, and that's a good thing.
But how do we know that that decrease in incarceration isn't directly tied to this increase in theft?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's tough to tease those things apart.
It's like a chicken or the egg situation.
And the supporters of Prop 47, they're arguing that just looking at theft statistics doesn't tell the whole story. They're saying there are all these other factors at play.
Things like poverty,
addiction, homelessness, mental health issues.
all these complex social problems.
Exactly. And they're saying we can't ignore those things. They're saying that those issues are major drivers of theft, and we can't just focus on the legal consequences in isolation.
So it's not a simple cause and effect.
Not at all. And what's really important here is to be mindful of how data can be manipulated. It's very easy to cherry-pick statistics to support a particular point of view.
To fit a narrative.
Exactly. But the reality is always much more complicated.
Nuance.
Yes,
Yeah.
nuance. So, why should you care about all this?
Right. Why does this matter to the average person?
Well, think about it. Laws are being made based on this data. Policies are being shaped by these studies. So we need to be critical consumers of this information. We need to understand that things aren't always black and white.
We can't just take things at face value.
Exactly. We need to think critically and ask questions.
And on that note, let's talk about businesses.
Yeah.
How is all of this impacting them, especially small businesses?
Yeah, that's a crucial part of this conversation. I mean, we can't ignore the real-world impact of these changes.
What are they actually experiencing out there?
Well, from the sources we've looked at, it seems that a lot of businesses, particularly small businesses, are reporting increased losses due to shoplifting. And they're feeling frustrated. They're feeling like the system isn't doing enough to protect them.
That it's failing them.
Yeah, they're struggling to cope with these losses, especially in this economy. It's tough out there.
And I imagine it creates a sense of fear.
Oh, absolutely. A sense of vulnerability.
You're just trying to make a living, run their businesses?
Keep their doors open.
Right. And now they're dealing with this added layer of stress.
And it raises this fundamental question: how do we balance individual rights with the well-being of the community? How do we pursue criminal justice reform while also ensuring that businesses are protected, that they can thrive?
It's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah.
And where does law enforcement fall in all of this?
Yeah, they're caught in the middle, aren't they? I mean, they have to enforce the law, whatever that law may be.
Right, they're just doing their jobs.
Exactly. And with Proposition 47, there's this emphasis on issuing citations instead of making arrests for petty theft.
So for things like shoplifting,
Right. And that can be frustrating for officers. They may feel like their hands are tied.
like they're not able to do what they need to do to keep people safe.
Exactly. And this is where we need to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about shifting resources, focusing more on repeat offenders, or investing more in social programs that address the root causes of crime, like poverty and addiction.
Treating the problem, not just the symptoms.
Exactly.
So to recap, California is in this really tricky situation.
A real dilemma.
They're trying to juggle these big goals, reforming the criminal justice system, keeping the public safe, supporting businesses.
It's a lot to balance.
It is. And there are no easy answers.
No easy solutions. But what's fascinating to me is that this situation in California, it's not unique. It's a reflection of this much larger national debate that we're having about criminal justice reform.
About how to create a system that's fair and effective.
Exactly. So, as other states are looking at California, thinking about enacting similar reforms, the question they have to ask themselves is, what does a successful balance look like? What does that look like to you?
What does that look like to our listeners?
Yeah, that's something I really want you to think about. Because this isn't just happening in California. This is a conversation that's happening everywhere.
And it's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
Absolutely.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
And be sure to join us next time for another thought-provoking discussion. Until then, Keep those questions coming.
Keep thinking critically.
And stay engaged.
Stay curious.
See you next time.
Bye.